Hello, my name is Lauren Wilson. I'm the director of the Real World Programs, which is, I don't know why they say that. I would rather it be CITE, C-I-T-E, because that's what we do. We do career technical education with internships embedded. But anyway, so I'm responsible to oversee this program at the various locations, the Tekaskeet site, Hemet, and Temecula, because those are the three that have high school students. But we also have homeschool students, and we have key students that come to the sites, as well as students who take these classes online virtually. How many of you take any of these classes online virtually? Very small population. Okay. So my objective today is to talk about CTE for second semester. And although you guys are already in CTE, this is our first year at this location, as well as we have so many new teachers, so many new pathways being offered, that we want to make sure that it's smooth, it's cohesive, and you guys know what you're supposed to be doing at all times. Because as we're coming to the end of the semester, we're finding a lot of students not passing their classes for various reasons. So we want to kind of, fix any problems now. Because as we move forward, like I said, we want it to be smooth, okay? Because you guys all want to pass your classes. All right, so at site at my level, there's me, and then there's Mr. George Essel, who is the CTE leader. He's the one that's in charge of CTE. And then we have Ms. Adair, who's in charge of the internships. So we're kind of at the top of it. And then we hire all of the teachers and create the schedules and create the pathways and do all that fun stuff. And then we have Ms. Annette Butler, who's pretty much in charge of getting the classes articulated with community colleges so that you guys can actually get college credit, okay? So there's a lot going on. It's more than just, oh, I'm going to take this class and pass it and get a grade. There's a lot more involved into it. All right. So at this point, I was going to introduce Mr. Essel, but he can't be here today, so he sent me a script. And if you know what he sounds nothing like me. He has a very gruff voice, but I'm not going to speak like him. But I did create this cool Prezi because I'm a visual person. All right, so his whole thing was, what are the real benefits of CTE? Okay, what are the real benefits of taking a CTE course? CTE courses teach you how to apply academic concepts to the tasks you would need to do to be successful in the workplace. It's rare that you need to include a bibliography in a report you create for your employer. However, you should still have your own bibliography in your files that shows where you obtain the data or information you are reporting. That way, if your supervisor asks you where you got that concept or recommendation, you would be able to show your data is based on fact and not on your opinion. So what does that say to you guys? Why do you think that he's trying to explain this to you this way and with this example? Crickets? Well, when I read that, and I had to read it a couple times just because my brain goes everywhere when I get new information. To me, it just means that, like I have a boss, and she might want me to work on a project, and I'll give her, all sorts of stuff for this project. Would it be smart for her to say, okay, I'll take this without, making sure that you kind of did your job checking on things? Because what if this is going to, I don't know, a superintendent or a politician or something? She's going to look pretty foolish if the information that I gave her wasn't 100% accurate. So what you guys need to do is realize that you're taking these courses, but you have to make sure that the information that you're providing is based on fact. Okay, does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I heard a mm-hmm. Can I get an amen? Okay. So really, we're trying to prepare you for the real world. I can't just show up to work and just kind of do whatever, okay? So everything that I do has to be based on good information, solid information. I can't just make it up. Although sometimes I do. All right. Let's see. This is not my laptop. Page down. No? Enter?
Enter. And space bar.
Space bar.
Or forward. Arrow. Did not work.
Hell.
The arrow.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That works. There you go. Thank you. Okay. The biggest benefit of CTE is the courses teach you how to gather information, analyze it, perform critical analysis, and problem solve. These are skills that all employers are seeking in employees, whether they are hiring someone into the entry-level position or supervisory position. These skills are developed in the CTE classroom. So hopefully when you guys are in the classroom, the teacher isn't just lecturing and you're taking notes and now I'm going to take a test. Okay? Hopefully you guys are getting information and it's being analyzed, it's being discussed, and then you're working on a project. Okay? I say hopefully. Hopefully. Okay. Because really we want you to use those critical analyzing, because like I said, in the real world, you're not just going to complete homework assignments. I mean, that would be kind of funny if, as an adult, you go to your workplace and it's like, here, read this chapter and then, write a summary. I mean, that's just not the way it works. Thank goodness. Okay, here comes the good part. Okay, so what is expected in a CTE classroom? Well, a lot of things that are expected in a regular classroom, right? You're listening to the teacher, you're not interrupting, you're not off task. But, okay, our preference is that CTE classrooms resemble the working environment as much as possible. Realizing we are a school, there does need to be some lecture, of course, content, but we'd really prefer the lecture be more of a discussion. Okay. To this, however, all students need to do their independent study assignments to include reading assignments so that each and every student can contribute to the discussion. All right, so I'm sorry, when do you guys have your CTE classes?
Today.
Just one day a week. Okay, so that means that all the other days of the week, except Saturday and Sunday, of course, you're preparing for this day. Okay, so if there's reading that you have to do, or maybe a little bit of research you have to do before you come to the class, it's really important that you get that done. And if you plan on going, to higher education, to community college or college, that's the same model there. You don't just open up your book to chapter 3 or whatever that day. You have to come prepared, okay? That's super important. Okay, it's very interesting when the discussion brings up concepts that contradict the textbook, and it's even better when the class can prove the book wrong. We take nothing at face value, we question everything. And I've seen Mr. Essel actually teach in his engineering classes. He's that way. A student will say, well, the book said this, but I think it's wrong. And he asks them to explain more, and sometimes the book is wrong. I mean, and that's a pretty good feeling. All right, after the discussion, we like our CTE classrooms to have projects for students to complete that allows them to use the critical analysis and problem-solving skills. We prefer this project time to emulate a real-world working environment with a team leader and a team that has to solve the problem or create a product. So that's kind of where I wanted to ask you guys, is that the feeling that you're getting? And if not, then that's something that we, as a leadership group, needs to help our teachers with, because it's really important that it's not, like I said, it's not lecture, it's not read this, now answer these questions. We really want the students to be involved in projects that kind of echo what you might be doing in the real world, because that's the name of our program, okay? So if you're here afterwards and you'd like to talk to me a little bit about that, I would really appreciate it. For those of you taking online CTE courses, it really shouldn't be much different. We have lecture discussion days online and office hours online. The online, okay, so what that means is it's kind of there 2 times. So on one day, you are meeting at a scheduled time, and I know that that's a problem at this site particularly, because those online hours were set up, and then I don't know if it was taken into consideration, but I'm taking math that period. So that's something that we really need to work on. And we're very flexible. Nothing is rigid. In fact, I'm going to read something from another teacher about that. The online component is not required if you have a B or greater. But if you are C or below, you really need to work with your online CTE teacher to help you understand the course content and get your work accomplished to raise your grade. Yes?
Also, the lectures are recorded,
Yes, they are.
so you can listen to them at a later date.
Absolutely. And that's really nice because, you know, how many times you listen to a lecture in the class and you've missed something, or, you know, you wish you had been paying attention better or whatever. You know, these are recorded for you, so that's great. Okay, a C or an average is not acceptable in the real world working environment. When companies have to cut personnel, they keep the A and B left workers and let the average and below average go. So when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, huh? I mean, if I've got a group of people and some are superstars and some are and just kind of towing the line, and then, you know, comes budget time, we got to let some people go. Do you really think they're going to let the superstars go? Absolutely not. Okay? So that's kind of the mentality that you want to keep. Because eventually, you're going to be in the real world and you're going to be competing for a position. That's just the way it goes. Okay, so again, with online, if you're doing great, you don't need to show up. You don't need to go to those office hours. But if you're not, we're kind of making it mandatory that you do show up for office hours, because that way, you know, you can meet with the teacher, you can get any questions answered, they can kind of tutor you when you need it. Okay? It's not a punishment, although it seems like. Okay, office hours are for one-on-one help from your CTE teacher and are also online. I'm just going to kind of repeat myself here. Students below a C are required to attend the office hours until their grade is back up to a C. Again, we really want you to be at an A or B. Online CTE teachers post announcements on Canvas and reach out to students and their teacher of record, but for some reason, most students still do not participate. If there is a reason you can participate, let your teacher know. For example, one of our online teachers has quite a few students who attend an academy program. The class lecture and office hours are during their normal school days, so the students cannot attend online. That teacher is changing his office hours for second semester to 5 to 6 p.m., so the students have access to him. After all, we can't problem solve either if we don't have the data to do the critical analysis. Okay, so, and the teacher he's talking about is the PC Essentials teacher, who is also going to be doing the robotics, which is a perfect segue into introducing him. I was hoping he would come today, he can't, and then when I said, and this is, bear in mind, this is the PC Essentials teacher, I said, well, you know, we can do a Google Hangout, and he said he doesn't have a webcam. And so I said, okay, well then you can Google Hangout on your cell phone. And he said, I don't have enough data on my cell phone. I said, wait, what class do you teach again? So anyway, so he asked me to read his script. My name is Derek Essel, and I teach CTE PC Essentials online. I have been trying to get all of my students engaged in this really awesome online simulator that teaches how to maintain and repair computers. However, many of my students do not complete their assignments and do not attend my online classes on Tuesday and Thursday. We did some research and found out that I have 5 students who enrolled at the TechEscape site and are in class during my online hours on Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. In consideration of these students, I am changing my office hours on Thursdays to 5 to 6 p.m. for second semester. Any student who is struggling with the course or has less than a C average needs to join me on Thursday so I can help you comprehend the course concepts and pass the course. And I gave one student today Derek's cell phone number to text him. That's another thing I've noticed with a lot of our CTE teachers. They give you their cell phone so you can text, you can email, you know, take phone calls when possible. They really, I mean, I think they go up and beyond than a lot of traditional classroom teachers do to make themselves available to you, okay? So we can lead you to water, we can put out the stick, but you guys have to respond, okay? And I understand you have more than just this class. You've got lots of classes, lots of other things going on in your life. But again, you know, we're giving you the opportunity. You really have to meet us, all right? Okay, he continues, I'm also the robotics coordinator for the school. I know there's a group of students at TechEscape that want to start a first tech challenge team next year. I'm sorry I can't meet with you today. We have started the first robotics competition season, and I am working 40 hours a week supporting those teams in addition to teaching the PC Essentials class. I understand that you have started fundraising. keep that up, and I'll get up here to visit you in March to talk about a plan for next year. Okay, so he's going to follow through and see if you guys want to do robotics with him, okay? All right. So at this point, I wanted to turn it over to the internship ladies. These are the ones that are trying to match you closely with an internship that kind of goes with your pathway, all right? Because the whole idea is getting experience, getting familiar with your pathway, because I can't tell you how many people that I've come across that went to college, got a degree in something, started their career, and then they realized, I hate this. So why spend all that time and especially money figuring out that this is not something you want to do for the rest of your life? So if you can do it earlier, the better. Okay?
Hi, how are you guys all doing today? Good. Ready to go home? Raise your hand if you're ready to go home. Me too. All right. How many of you are freshmen? Okay. Sophomores? All right. Juniors? Okay. And seniors? And I see some of you are undecided. All right. My name's Melissa Moreno. I am your internship coordinator for FAPA upstairs, but I hear soon we'll all be merging, right? All right, so we put together a little quick PowerPoint for you. Actually, it's through Google and not Microsoft, but same difference. Look for your classmates. I took some pictures of them out in the field at some of their jobs. Can you guys guess how many different internships in businesses we currently work with? A lot?
30.
4? 30? How many of you have visited the website where you could choose your internship? Juniors, seniors?
Yeah.
Yeah? How many were there?
Too many to count.
Too many to count. We work with a lot of businesses currently.
So you're not going to give us a number?
It's always
Number of
changing.
businesses?
What
We
is
have
it?
almost 300 businesses, 296 businesses through 5 counties. So if there's something you want to do, we will make it happen for you as long as you partner with us and let us know what the places are that you're interested in working with.
All right. But we commonly get some of the same questions over and over again throughout the semester. So what I thought I'd do is I'd put together a little slide for you to answer some of these questions now. Even though we know we'll hear them later, but at least now you can start thinking about these, especially some of our freshmen and sophomores. So, where will you go? Okay. Where do you think you want to go? What do you want to do? It's commonly that I sit with interns and I say, what do you want to do when you graduate? And just like I was when I graduated, they're like, I have no clue. Well, what are you into? And this is really what helps us. What do you like to do? Do you like animals? Do you like kids? No? Okay. What do you like to do? You like robotics? You're
Working on
only
computers, medical. Go ahead.
you're only limited by your imagination. If you've seen somewhere around town and you're like, wow, that place would be awesome to work, there's no reason why we can't try to get you in there and see if we can't get an internship started.
And to get your CTE certificate, which requires you do 2 courses in your pathway, a culminating project, which your CTE teacher will help you do, and an internship in that pathway. So it's kind of cool if we're able to blend your internship with your CTE pathway. So not only are you developing skills that are required in that pathway for future employment, you're also going to get experience in that pathway so that when you're done taking those courses, our goal is to our goal is to guide you toward a job in that pathway to help you get through college.
All right. So why do you want an internship? Some of you are saying, why do I have to do this? And you don't actually realize the great opportunities that you're actually being given. I recently graduated with my master's degree, but while I was there, I had an opportunity to get an internship. And unfortunately, I didn't take as many of those opportunities as possible. And what you'll find if you graduate from high school or you graduate from college is that those internships, and I had a teacher who put it really well, When you get out of college, you are a nice, fancy Mercedes-Benz. You have all the decorations from your biology classes and anatomy classes and all this education up there that makes you a great fit. There's only one problem. When you go to look for a job, they want 1 to 2 years of experience. And you're like, how am I supposed to have this 1 to 2 years experience? I just spent $100,000 on my education and I've been in school. Well, internships are the tires that get you going. You can be a fancy car, but with no tires, you're not going anywhere. So take advantage of it now while you're in high school, so that way you have one up on all those college students when you get there. Or if your plans are not to go to college, but go into some type of training, this is the best way to go about doing it. So it's an opportunity to test drive a career. You accumulate new skills. And these could be something as simple as answering a telephone, learning etiquette,
Knowing how to talk to someone by looking them in the eye. Those are the differences between someone hiring you now and going, well, maybe not ready. It's everything you do with a potential employer, which you should be practicing with your CTE teachers when you're in classes. But everything you do is like an audition for the opportunity to possibly be employed. So every day that you're at work doing your internship and you're communicating with your boss or your mentor, you want to look at them in the eye. You want to put your cell phone away. You want to dress appropriately. And you want to talk clearly and precisely to everyone you're working with and every client that walks through their door. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And that requires practice. You think it's an easy thing to do, but it requires practice. We practice it all the time in order to be able to come up here and speak to you about what we're so passionate about.
That's very correct. What else can it do for you? It looks great on a college application to show them that you're hardworking, that you've done this before. It also helps establish your relationship with mentors. In the business world, we call this networking. And this is a very valuable tool for you to start thinking about now. Who do you know in this field? Who can help you get a job? With the way the economy was going there for a while, it was hard for anyone to get a job. And networking really is, what's that saying? It's not what you know always, but it's sometimes who you know. And so getting this internship and getting these business mentors are a great way that you can start facilitating that. All right. So where can you intern? 300 places, right? But what's there? So I decided to put a quick little slide. What are your classmates doing currently? Medical pathways. We have Hemet Valley Hospital, Kaiser Hospital. Do we have our student who's working for Kaiser here right now? There you go. A couple. All right. We have Riverside University Health Systems, dental systems. So all over the board with different places. And these are just a few. We didn't have room to put them all on here. We have hashtag animal time. All right, we have some zoos. We have strictly reptiles. In Hemet, we have the Equestrian Center.
Mary Roberts. Mary Roberts. Yay!
Yeah? Oh.
They love you guys. Mary Roberts they tell me they'll take spring students any day of the week because you guys are consistent and you do a good job. So I love hearing that. You guys are doing awesome.
Some of our transportation pathways. We've worked with car tinting companies, Midas Tires, Far West Aircraft, Marchfield Air Museum. Are any of my students that are working at, there we go, there's Nellie. We have a few of our students working at our Marchfield Air Museum over there. Education. Do you want to teach? These are all different schools, elementary schools and middle schools that we've had our intern students working at and getting that education underneath their belt. Media, arts, and entertainment. Boy, it was very hard to choose what to put on this one just because we have so many great internships in this pathway. We have graphic companies, video game companies, theater companies. I mean, you think about it, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? See yourself there. Business. Do you want to open your own business? Have you thought about doing that type of thing? What about working at Fitness 19? Are you into working out, this type of thing? Clothing, boutiques. The pink pineapple. It's a pretty cool place. Ambience is one of our huge salons that we have. So if you thought about working at a hair salon, and that's the pathway you've thought about deciding, these are all different places that we currently work with. Engineering. How many of you are interested in engineering? Anyone? Okay. So these are just a couple. We have the Right Flyer Project.
Yeah, we
I
have
believe
two,
we've had
two students from here.
two students.
And those
that are
students
here.
are connecting with Caltech. They have Caltech is coming in and mentoring those students at the Wright Brothers project. So they're building model aircraft, and eventually the Caltech is going to send mentors from Caltech to that project. Now, if you want to get into school for engineering and you get a letter of recommendation from someone from Caltech, that is significant. And that's a lot to do with how well these boys are doing over there. I say boys, but girls are allowed too, and I would love to send a girl over there. So,
We even work with cities often, and with cities, that's a great opportunity for you to network with your fellow councilmen. I know often they have paths, not just for engineering, but for business and you name it. They can also turn out to be paying jobs, a lot of these.
a lot of our students do. We have 15% of our students get paid positions from their internships.
So, where do I sign up? You recognize that page, right? 'Cause
How many
you've
people
there.
have been in Canvas and have seen the page? Oh, come on. I want everybody to raise their hand
So
right
can't see their
now.
hands.
Pacify me. But that's where you go. Our 300 business partners are on this website. And you guys have access to that through your Canvas shell, your internship Canvas shell.
There's also an option to request your own. Let's say you were like, I really want to work at this skateboard shop, or I really want to do this. That's where you go on, you put, this is where I want to work. Please see if you can find me that spot. Okay? So you picked your internship, now what? Now you need to interview. With your interview, you'll need to bring your resume. Your first semester, you'll be required to have 40 hours. What does that look like? That's basically 4 hours a week. You could do it 4 hours on a Saturday. You could break it up. It could be 2 hours on a Friday, 2 hours on Saturday, 2 hours Monday after school, 2 hours Wednesday after school. What happens is during the interview, you sit down with the employer and you both talk about what works with your current schedule and what works with them to come to a unanimous decision.
And your schedule is set up. Your home study days were set up. The home study days were set up so that you have the opportunity to do your internship. So internship is built into your schedule already. Your 4 hours a week are built in on your home study days.
All right, second semester and the next following year, you'll be required to have 75 hours. And that might seem daunting at first until you realize that you get much more time to start earlier. And a lot of times our interns stay in the same internship. So you can start as soon as possible. And you don't have to only do 4 hours a week. Let's say you're on break and you want to do 8 hours working wherever it is. You're more than welcome to do that and put it on your hour sheet. So you need to complete your B1 through 6 form, which is the simple form that says I'm under 18 and my parents say I'm okay to work and the employer's okay with me working here, and you get those to us. And then after that, you get a printed up hours form from Canvas, and you just fill it out once a week, have your employer sign it, and bring it into your teacher.
And actually, guys, I was talking to the teachers yesterday, and a lot of you are out doing incredible things. The jobs that you're doing out there are impressive, but you're not turning in your log sheets. And the end of the semester starts next week. If you don't have your log sheets turned in by next week, you're going to get 0 credit for the work you've done, which is really kind of silly. You've done the work, get the credit. Because if you don't get those hours in, you're going to see very low grades in internship. So Miss Boss has hour sheets in her cubby over here. You can download it from Canvas. Mr. Cote has them stacked in his classroom upstairs. Get those filled in and get those to your teachers immediately. Because if you do the work, you are getting paid by getting credit for the class. So if you don't turn in the hours, it's like going to work, someone's paying you $10 an hour, and you're not filling out your time card, and they're like, well, thank you for working for free. Don't do it. Fill out your log sheets and get them turned in. Get that credit so you get an A or B. It's awesome to have an A or B and internship on your transcript when you're applying to college. And if you didn't get an A or B because you didn't turn in the timesheet, do you see the disconnect? Everyone tell me you understand? Thank you.
All right, so some of you are thinking, but I already have a job. Is anyone here thinking that?
I have a job.
Okay, well, let's say you're in internship now and they've said, look, we'd like to hire you on. So what are the requirements now to move instead of internship but into work experience? Well, the first is that you need to be currently employed. You can't say, well, I think they're going to hire me in a couple of months, so I'm going to apply. No, because you need a current work permit with the state of California. So first things first, you need to be currently already in the job. Next is you need to get a work permit and you need to turn
Wait,
in.
I'm sorry, I just need, not in the job, because you cannot legally work anywhere and collect a paycheck if you are under the age of 18 and do not have a work permit. You have to have an offer of a job.
Yes.
You have to have McDonald's say, we want to hire you and we need you to start on January 26th. In the time between now and January 26th, if that were the scenario, you would go to our website, download the work permit application, fill it out, and it needs to go to our guidance department in Temecula. They have to do a grade check. You have to be a 2.0 or above and be making adequate progress toward graduation. So guidance will approve that you are okay to work. And then our intern, our teacher, Miss Magner, will sign your work permit and she will deliver it to your business or mail it to you. So does that make sense? So you have to have an offer of employment and you have to have a work permit in before guidance will ever even enroll you in that class. But your work experience course does count for internship. So if you've got a job, you don't have to do internship. You can do our WE course, work experience education. Okay?
All right. So I think Judy already mentioned it, but you need to have a 2.0 GPA in order to be enrolled in this class. After that, you just they're in the back. Are there any questions that I can answer, students or parents, about internship? No? You guys got it? We're good?
They're done listening to our voices.
All right. Okay. Wait! We're not done. We're done.
Yeah, they're done. They're not done. And just a little aside. I mean, I hope you guys can hear the passion in their voices. When we started the whole idea of, hey, let's put kids in internships, it was me and another person from the school. We had 3 kids that we had to find internships for, and we found internships for all 3. One of them currently works for our school in the IT department, and he makes some good money. So, so the idea of stepping into something and then it becoming something else, it's totally possible. Both of my kids were with Springs Charter Schools a couple years ago. They both got their first job because on their resume they were able to show that they had some kind of work experience. Okay, industry that they teach now, like Mr. Allen, he didn't go to college to be a teacher. Okay, he is a photographer. Okay, Mr. Adair, he didn't go to college to be an aviation teacher. He's a pilot. Okay, so they have real world experience, and you can't be a CTE teacher unless you have industry experience. They just don't give the credentials that way. All right. So I wanted to start actually with Annette Butler, the medical teacher, because she wanted to also talk a little bit about the accreditation process. It's a very involved process. Thank goodness she can navigate through it. But in the end, what it gives to you guys is the ability to earn college credit. And like I said, college costs a lot of money, and if you can get college credit technically for free, wow, that's a huge plus. So come on up, Annette.
Okay, great.
And then she also gets wonderful field trips for you guys to go to.
Okay. Yes, so I wanted to connect all of that for everyone. So right now you're taking a CTE class, that's Career and Technical Education. These classes are also offered in college. What we do is we go to the colleges and we articulate with them. What that means is we have a contract with them. If you take these classes for 1 year and you get an A or a B and you pass the college exam, you get 3 units of college credit along with your 10 units. So these are great classes to have, and all these classes are transferable and that go with you through your college experience. So let's say you need 60 units to get an associate's degree, and you get 3 units from a class. That's 60 minus 3 units. So you're that much closer to getting your associate's degree or your bachelor's degree. Now here's another great thing about this is that let's say you want to go in the medical field and you take a terminology class. You don't have to take a terminology class in college. You've already taken it here. You've already gotten the college credit, and you're that much farther into graduating with the degree that you want. So right now we have 19 classes that are articulated. The majority of the classes and all of the CTE pathways, they are articulated also. So make sure that you stay in the classes for 1 year, you get an A or a B, you take that college exam, and you get your credit, because that's a big plus. And guess what? Not a lot of other schools are doing it. We're doing it here at Springs, and we've been doing it since 2008. So we've been doing it for many years here. We know how to do it. We know how it's done. Just stay in your classes, CTE classes, continue to go to school. And another thing, this year we're having 6 field trips. All of the field trips we have articulated classes to. So make sure that you know about the field trips. Go on the field trips where your classes are articulated with, so you can see if you like those colleges, and then we're going to help you get into those colleges, and you're also going to take your college credit with you. So realistically, you could possibly maybe leave here with 12 units of college credit, 15 units of college credit. That's a whole semester of college. So that's another way of staying in high school and getting out of here and not having to actually physically go to a college, but getting your college credit right here at Springs. So thank you for letting me talk to you, and please stay in your CTE classes.
Does anybody else want to talk about their class? The main thing that I mean, you guys all know your teachers. The main thing that we really wanted to stress was the classroom expectations, because you know we go through the whole semester, and then you see the grades and they're not good. So it's like, okay, what are we missing? So you guys all know, you know, in any class, you come to class, you do the work, you turn in the assignments, you pass the class, but, you know, is there a disconnect? Is there something that we're missing? So if you guys could chime in with that, or if your teachers needed to chime in, this was the opportunity to do that. So are we missing anything? Crickets. So everybody here's passing all their CTE classes?
Question differently. If you're in a CTE class right now and you're below 80%, what is it about the class that makes you unable or unwilling or not wanting to complete the assignments in Canvas? Is Canvas a struggle? Any ideas? Because we're asking for your input because we want to make changes or adjustments to accommodate you as a student. So here's an opportunity for you to help us out.
Or they can tell their CTE teacher.
Or they can, yeah, you can, absolutely, absolutely.
Don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
Or you can speak to me privately when we're done. Okay? Okay. Guess what? I think we're done.
Thank you for
Thank you
staying.
so much for